Why is there so much negativity about tinnitus? If you go online, you come across very quickly an ocean of despair and hopelessness and doom and gloom with devastating messages like if you have it for X number of months, then it will last 150 years, etc., etc. The reason for this is that you get a lot of people who haven't yet found a way out of tinnitus, and they haven't got support in processing, releasing, letting go, switching off, coming out of fight or flight so that the hearing settles back into normal peacetime mode. So in panic and fear, they gravitate towards other people who get stuck together in great big clumps of negativity, and they all profess a mindset of this is something you can't cure, which is really awful and it's really unhelpful. So whenever I work with somebody, I encourage them not to go on the internet because you get a very distorted view of the world of tinnitus. You only see the stuck negative people online. Most people that used to have tinnitus just get on with their lives and they don't talk about it anymore. A lot of people sometimes get tinnitus and then it goes away again. Some people get it for an extended period of time through a crisis and then it backs off when their life gets back on track, and so on. But the people who struggle and they're full of resistance, anger, rage, negativity tend to sort of coagulate together in quite a toxic and unhelpful stuckness and perpetuate this kind of view. So it's very good not to go online and not to get too entrenched in negative thinking. If you go into any forum, they can be incredibly helpful, and if you go to the positive stories section and see how many people have got better and get their advice, then that's really useful. But interestingly, in my experience, a lot of people on forums don't go and read about the positive stories. They tend to gravitate towards this more negative, critical, judgmental, angry, resentful energy. And one thing helps tinnitus, and that's feeling safe, getting your head around it, knowing what makes you better, having the strategies and the structures and the approaches in place that help it back off, getting the right kind of support around you, and learning to de-stress and settle your system definitely makes tinnitus better. The other thing which is really difficult is that the medical model is really restricted by the kind of treatments it can promote, because a lot of the the pharmaceutical research points to very stringent tests, and it's very hard to prove that chemical X helps tinnitus or therapy Y helps tinnitus, because there are millions of variables. If you try and set up a research project to prove craniosacral therapy stops tinnitus, it's incredibly expensive, it's an absolute minefield, and there are just millions of considerations to take into account. At the end of the day, somebody getting better, as far as I'm concerned, is good enough. But this presents a person with tinnitus with a skewed view that tinnitus is awful and full of doom and gloom, because you go to health practitioners and often they drop really devastating bombshells saying that there's nothing you can do about it because they haven't had experience of what does help, and they cannot refer you to the right kind of people because they don't know. There's a huge amount of ignorance around tinnitus. So if a lot of the mainstream health practitioners are saying, sorry, we can't help you, and a lot of the forums collect these clumps of negativity, this does present a bit of a gloomy picture, really. But I want to remind you that people who used to have tinnitus don't talk about it anymore. You know, many people get tinnitus while they go through a crisis or have a stressful time, but when they get better, when their life settles down again, tinnitus backs off. people go through periods of tinnitus and then they get over it, so they move on, and because the mind is not focusing on the noise, they're not overly hooked in, so the mind lets go of the tinnitus and the noise itself can settle and come down. So a lot of people make a full recovery. Because they don't talk about it, because they don't go online and say, "Hi, my name's John, I had tinnitus 20 years ago," it doesn't mean they don't exist. So all I'm saying is, don't be fooled by the negative energies out there and the negative approaches and negative messages, because all the people that got better have got on with their lives. They've moved on and they're no longer thinking about it.